New Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White held her reintroductory news conference Monday afternoon at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. White, who is succeeding Christy Sides as the Fever's coach, will return to Indiana after a 2-year stint as Connecticut Sun coach. White has a lot of familiarity with Indiana and the Fever. Team president Kelly Krauskopf drafted White in Indiana's 2000 expansion draft. White was an assistant coach under Lynn Dunn when Indiana won its championship in 2012, and Krauskopf gave White her first head coaching gig with the Fever in 2015. White was the head coach of the Fever from 2015-16 before she moved on to become Vanderbilt head coach. Now, she's back in Indianapolis. "This is just a really special place, special franchise," White said. "It's been a part of my DNA from day one, and will always continue to be a part of my DNA. Every time I came home," Fever broadcaster Pat Boylan would ask me, "every time I come back, what's it feel like when you come back in this building?" And every time I said, "It feels like home, it feels like home." And that's because it is. I am so incredibly honored, so humbled, so thankful, grateful and excited to lead this franchise and take it to another level. White spent the past 2 years in Uncasville, Connecticut, a location where there were no direct flights from her home base of Nashville, as well as a 1-hour drive after landing. With her kids going to school in Nashville, White barely saw them from when they returned to school until the WNBA season was over. Coaching in Indiana allows White to make the 4-hour drive to see her kids more often, and puts her closer to her hometown of West Lebanon, Indiana. "I'm at the point in my career where, making a decision for one reason or another isn't really good enough anymore," White said. "It's got to be about professional opportunity. It's got to be about personal opportunities. And for me, being near my family, and some of them are here today, including my nephew, who I've only seen a few times, so it would be great to see his little, cute face more often, and for my children to be able to be around my family even more, it's important. And for those of us who have children, you don't get these years back, right? You don't get this time back. And my family sacrificed a lot of time with my children, and for them to now be able to have them around more often, for me to be closer to home, it was really important." There's always a time in your life where you feel like everything needs to be grounded, everything needs to be centered, so that you can be where your feet are. White will enter into a team that boasts the past 2 #1 picks and Rookies of the Year in Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. As a center and a point guard, Boston and Clark naturally complement each other. Yes, after collecting Indiana's prestigious Miss Basketball Award in high school and leading Purdue to the 1999 NCAA title, after playing on the Indiana Fever expansion team and serving as an assistant coach during the franchise's 2012 championship run, White has decided she has some unfinished business to complete in her second stint as Indiana's head coach. So 3 days after Indiana hired White, she returned to Gainbridge Fieldhouse and received a rousing reception from her home state fans with some of her new players, including Caitlin Clark, in the crowd. "It's going to be really hard for me to not get emotional today, but I think all of these familiar faces in the building here, this is coming home for me," White said Monday during her reintroductory news conference. "It has been such an experience with this franchise for nearly 25 years, from day one, and the opportunity to come home and lead this young, exciting team is really exciting." The 47-year-old White returns to Indiana as a far more experienced coach than the one who left in 2016, just 2 seasons into her head coaching career with a record of 37-31. She spent the next 4+ seasons as Vanderbilt's head coach, compiling a 46-83 mark before taking a year off and eventually returning to the WNBA with the Connecticut Sun. There, she went 55-25 and led the Sun to the league semifinals in both seasons, earning the head coaching slot for the 2023 WNBA All-Star Game before winning the 2023 WNBA Coach of the Year award. But when Indiana fired Christy Sides amid rumors about White's interest in returning to Indiana, White and the Sun agreed to part ways, opening the door for her return to the Fever. It didn't take long for the sides to reach a deal, and now White, who honed her communication skills as a broadcaster, takes over one of the league's most entertaining teams, featuring back-to-back Rookies of the Year in Clark and Aliyah Boston. "They're an exciting team to watch, and I think offensively, we can be more creative. I think we can utilize certain players in different ways," White said as Clark and Boston watched. "I'm a forward-thinking, outside-the-box kind of coach. I like to challenge them on a number of levels, and they are a high basketball IQ team, so I want to give them the freedom to make plays. But it's not just strategy that has White eager to get started. She believes the league's highest drawing team in both attendance and television ratings can hang another title banner, or multiple banners, while helping women's basketball reach a level former players, such as White, once used to think was possible only in their dreams. Fever officials believe White's presence, on and off the court, will help keep the momentum building just 2 months after Indiana clinched its playoff berth since 2016. We're looking forward, and this is about the next phase and the next era of kind of what we're building here, said Kelly Krauskopf, president of basketball and business operations for the Fever. When I had the opportunity to talk to her, it was like fortuitous or something. I couldn't even believe the timing of the opportunity. I look forward to seeing how Stephanie can communicate with the players and work with them and put them in a position to be successful. The Indiana Fever on Monday formally welcomed former and returning head coach Stephanie White back to the franchise with an introductory news conference on the team's practice court at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. White, 47, was named the team's coach on Friday after she parted ways with the Connecticut Sun earlier last week following 2 playoff appearances in as many seasons. She previously coached Vanderbilt University's women's basketball team and was the Fever's head coach from 2015 to 2016. It's going to be really hard for me to not get emotional today, but I think all of these familiar faces in the building here, this is coming home for me, White said Monday during her news conference. The Indiana native and 1995 Indiana Miss Basketball played for Seeger High School in West Lebanon before leading Purdue University to the 1999 NCAA championship. She played 5 WNBA seasons, including 4 with the Fever. The Fever is expected to return most of the team's core players next season, led by Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, back-to-back #1 picks in the 2023 and 2024 WNBA drafts, respectively, and winners of the last 2 WNBA Rookie of the Year awards. The news conference also marked the first public appearance by Amber Cox, who was named the team's general manager 1 month ago. Kelly Krauskopf, who rejoined the franchise as president of basketball and business operations this offseason after 6 seasons with the Indiana Pacers, also spoke with media. You're always looking at your options, and sometimes those things are tandem. Sometimes they go hand in hand. You're thinking about ways where you can improve. Things came together pretty quickly, from the time that we initially decided that we were going to go ahead and part ways, and almost literally within a day or so, I'm hearing that Stephanie was going to be leaving Connecticut. So, it was a fortuitous moment that worked out well for us, and here we are. Players want to play in front of big crowds, so when it comes to free agency, when it comes to attracting players that want to play with a great point guard and a great center, that want to play with a great wing player in Kelsey Mitchell, that want to play in an environment that's going to be sold out, night in and night out, in a city that loves basketball and that will love them, I think that's how you use it as a coach. I think that the way we navigate it from an X's and O's standpoint is we have built-in energy, right? We have built-in energy, but we can't depend on that. We can't use that as a crutch. We've got to make sure that our attention to detail is always at its highest, and we use this as an added bonus and as fuel, to play for something bigger than ourselves, to play for this organization, to play for this city that loves basketball, to play for these fans who are showing up every single day. You don't accomplish great things without playing for something bigger than yourself, and this gives us an opportunity to do that.